hospital said it is still far lower than it used to be in the previous years. Charles JRRMMC still remains on a full alert, anticipating that there will be more firecracker victims that will be coming over here to ask for medical help. Charles?
Thanks for that, Ria. That was Ria Fernandez reporting live from Manila. The World Health Organization has issued its very first emergency use validation for the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. Regulatory experts reviewed the data on the shot's safety, efficacy, and quality as part of a risk-benefit analysis. And they found that the vaccine had met the criteria for safety and efficacy set out by the WHO. They also learned that the benefits of using the vaccine to address COVID-19 offset any potential risks. This emergency use listing paves the way for countries to expedite their own regulatory approval processes to import and administer the Pfizer vaccine. It also enables UNICEF and the Pan American Health Organization to procure and distribute the vaccine to countries in need. Authorities say New Year celebrations in the country were generally peaceful. This as recorded incidents dropped by 75% compared to the previous year. PNP spokesperson Ildebrandi Osana says they're still rounding up the number of violators, but Osana confirms that a policewoman from Malabon has been arrested for indiscriminate firing, while a resident from Dagupan was injured due to a stray bullet. Osana adds that New Year checkpoints will be enforced until January 5 or 6. And the night sky in Manila did shine brightly as the nation's capital welcomed 2021 with a fleet of drones. Aside from the colorful drones, the LGU topped it off with a show-stopping pyrotechnic display in Intramuros. Some Manileños that went to see the show wished for the pandemic to end this new year. Meanwhile, the Manila Police District was delighted to report the low turnout of firecracker-related injuries amid the celebrations.
It is very safe na sabihin to ay very, very peaceful. Meron kaming 3 insidente pero lahat ay minor. Minor bruises lang at sila ay nakalabas naman na sa pagkatapos ma-check up sa ospital.
We'll be back with more stories after a quick break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. Circling back to our top story, medical frontliners in Quezon City were likewise not spared from having to deal with firecracker-related injuries. To tell us the latest on the ground, we have Manila Los Baños reporting from the East Avenue Medical Center in Quezon City.
Charles, here in East Avenue Medical Center, at least 4 firecracker-related injuries were recorded since the New Year's Eve. This is way lower than the last year's record of 30 firecracker victims from December 31 to January 1. A few minutes past 9 p.m. last night, still hours before the peak of New Year festivities, 12-year-old Russell Benito from Camarin, Caloocan was already rushed here at the East Avenue Medical Center with the tip of his index finger almost amputated due to a firecracker called Skyrocket. His mother said she was never remiss in reminding her son not to light up firecrackers, but Russell still went out with his friends last night.
Hindi ko alam kung saan bumili. Ako, pag nakita ko yung binila na yan, didibanta ko nila.
Russell said he was not the one who used firecrackers, but he admitted he picked up an unlit firecracker which exploded in his hand.
Alam mong bawal magpaputok?
Opo.
Ba't ka nagpaputok?
Naroon lang po ako, nakapold lang po ako, tapos pinapuputok. Kala ko, hindi ko umano.
Anong leksyon ang natutunan mo?
Bakit po? Ayoko na umulit.
Mapaputok ka pa ulit?
Hindi na po.
15-year-old Althea Ramirez sustained multiple abrasions in her leg along with her friend Deborah. Althea's father said residents in their street in Fairview, Quezon City strictly observed the prohibition in lighting up firecrackers. And yet the 2 teenagers were sitting outside their house when a quitis fell down right in front of them.
Sa aming street namin, talaga binabawal po namin paputok eh. Pero sa kabilang street, hindi namin namomonitor.
12-year-old Nicanor Abing was also rushed to the hospital after a piccolo hit his eye.
Kasi akala ng barkada niya, hindi napuputok eh. Tapos yun, hinagi sa kanya, di pumutok pa pala. So, pumunta dun sa mata niya, tumama.
Throughout the night, a number of victims, particularly of motorcycle accidents, were likewise rushed here in East Avenue Medical Center, many of which were due to drunk driving. 60-year-old Nelson Isiderio from Caloocan was brought by his neighbor to the hospital after he was found lying on the ground, reportedly because of an accident while he was riding his bicycle. Isiderio was reportedly drunk.
Sige, gising ka muna. Anong pangalan mo? Kaya anong pangalan mo?
And because Nelson was not responding to the doctor, he was brought straight to the other emergency room attending to suspected COVID patients, so he can be observed for possible COVID symptoms. Meanwhile, the doctors and nurses made sure to greet the New Year even with just a simple countdown. The nurses also found time to eat their medianoche, albeit in a rush just to celebrate the New Year. They even had an exchange gift. Senior nurse Carlo Cabrera, who has been reporting for duty on Christmas Day and New Year's Day for years now, said 2020 was definitely a tough one for medical frontliners like them.
Namayapan na tinamaan ng virus. Kagaya na sabi ko, it's part of our job, it's part of our duty. So tuloy-tuloy pa rin po.
Though they are used to working during holidays, doctors and nurses here in the hospital said it still gets lonely when one cannot spend New Year's celebration with their families. They say they just make the most out of their time here with their workmates, who they also treat as a family. And though they're exhausted, especially 9 months into the pandemic, they say all they can do is push on and wish that 2021 will be better.
New Year's wish, sana matapos na tong pandemya and everyone will be celebrating holidays at their home safely.
Charles, Health Secretary Francisco Duque earlier said that it's important that medical personnel don't get too exhausted as they still have to prepare for the possible surge in COVID-19 cases in the next 2 weeks. For News 5, Manila Los Baños, we are One News.
Despite the pandemic, people all over the world got in a festive mood to send 2020 off. New Zealand was among the first in the world to celebrate the arrival of 2021. With a fireworks display that erupted from Auckland's Sky Tower. Revelers on the waterfront watched the 5-minute show over the city's harbor. In Australia, blue and gold fireworks soared into the sky above the Sydney Opera House, as they do every year. In Vietnam, thousands of people gathered in Hanoi to welcome the new year amid the coronavirus pandemic. The country has had less than 1,500 infections and just 35 deaths from the coronavirus. Thailand ushered in the new year with its own display of fireworks and a light show. The show lasted just 5 minutes along the iconic Chao Phraya River. in Taipei, 2021 was welcomed with a spectacular fireworks display from the city's tallest skyscraper, the 101 Tower. But the crowd wasn't as big as usual, with reduced numbers due to the coronavirus restrictions. In Dubai, visitors and residents gathered at the iconic Burj Khalifa to celebrate the start of 2021. The region's tourism hub celebrated the new year with the usual firework and laser show at the world's tallest building in the heart of Dubai. In Moscow, residents flocked to the city center to celebrate the upcoming new year by taking a stroll among beautifully decorated streets. The usually busy streets were even more vivid despite the decision of authorities to cancel official celebrations due to the coronavirus threat. In China, Shanghai Disney Resort staged a fireworks and light show at the enchanted Storybook Castle. Finally, Wuhan residents counted down to 2021 strolling along Jianghan Road, bundled up against the late December freeze. The brightly lit streets appear to show a sense of normalcy in the former virus epicenter. For more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. And you can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. We are One News.